In the beginning, there was no money. There was only grain, stone, and sky. And there were temples, vast, silent vaults, where the rhythms of heaven were measured in columns and sound. In Babylon, the priests were not just scribes. They were surveyors of stars, accountants of cosmic timing, architects of sacred flow. The first banks were temples, and the first bankers were astronomers. They tracked the heavens, not to tell stories, but to synchronize value with the turning of the cosmos. You did not barter. You received rations from the granaries of the gods, measured, weighed, and signed with the seal of the temple. The sacred and the economic were one. This is the secret history of how money emerged not from barter, but from resonance, from geometry, from light, from gold. Not as treasure, but as tuning fork. In Egypt, gold was called flesh of the gods, not merely for its beauty, but for its resonance. It does not oxidize, it is stable, and more importantly, it sings. In Sumer, gold was not mined only for kings. It was offered in temples, shaped into icons, woven into the structure of sacred chambers. Why? Because it amplifies energy, because it interacts with field, because it hums in scalar silence, transmitting intent into form. Temples were not just places to kneel, they were systems, open to sky, aligned to stars, and grounded in Earth's electromagnetic memory. Their blueprints were equations, their altars, capacitors, their columns, standing waves. The very geometry of the temple encoded a formula. Frequency plus structure can influence over matter. The priests knew this. They encoded their knowledge in stone, in ratios, in sacred measures passed down as myth, but practiced as engineering. One unit of measure was called the L, not arbitrary. It represented the fundamental wavelength of the structure. The width of the temple might be 12L, the length L, the inner chamber LF, where F is the golden ratio, harmonic nesting, recursive geometry, fractal resonance. This was not architecture. It was scalar coding. The temple itself became a resonator, a local oscillator in a planetary energy circuit, and gold was the conductor. Because in scalar physics, matter is not static. It is oscillation trapped in geometry. Gold, with its dense atomic structure, its monoatomic possibilities, and its superconductive nature, became the ultimate spiritual metal. A mirror of light unclouded. When placed within these temples, when harmonized with the ratios of the building, it began to act. Not chemically, not economically, but energetically. It became a medium between will and reality. This is the forgotten link between alchemy and accounting. The ledgers of Babylon were not crude economics. They were harmonic records, time-based balances of energy and exchange. To owe a temple was not just to pay grain. It was to fall out of sync, to become disharmonic, spiritually, socially, and electrically. And so the priests developed a system where man could re-enter alignment through ritual, through offering, through gold. What we now call interest began as energy exchange, debt as dissonance, balance as frequency correction. But in time, the resonance faded, the ritual remained, and the formula was forgotten, or worse, reversed. Alchemy, once the science of soul and matter, became the control of soul by matter. Banking divorced itself from spirit. Money was unhinged from meaning. The temples became vaults, and the vaults, cages. But in that ancient moment before the fall, there was a priesthood, golden in name and nature. That held the knowledge of the stars in one hand and the secret of gold in the other. They were not just economic elites. They were field technicians, quantum initiates, architects of scalar power. And they knew that to control value, one must first control vibration. They were not built by accident, not by chance, not where the ground was soft or the view was nice. The ancient builders, they chose their ground like astronomers pick stars, with precision, with meaning, with knowledge, not just of the heavens, but of the earth's secret currents. The pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, the stone circles of Britain, the mounds of the Americas, all sit upon invisible lines that pulse, that vibrate, that remember. This was the grid. Not a myth, but a map. A lattice of telluric currents, plasma rivers beneath the crust, woven like nerves through the planetary body. Today we call them ley lines. In the East they were called dragon lines. In the West, song lines. To the ancients they were the lifeblood of the goddess, the veins of the earth. And what did they build on them? Temples. Always temples. Because the temple was more than a shrine. It was a tuner, a resonator placed at the nodal points of the Earth's harmonic field. Just like a quartz crystal in a radio, just like a satellite dish facing the sky. The temple received and transmitted. Its stones absorbed the frequencies of the Earth. Its pillars organized those waves. Its altar, at the center, focused them. A standing wave in stone. Pyramids were not tombs, they were capacitors. Giza, Saqqara, Dashur, each aligned not only to the stars, but to the harmonics of the Earth's own frequencies. Frequencies modern science barely dares to explore. The Great Pyramid itself is tuned, not just in its geometry, but in its location. Latitude 29.9792 degrees north. That number matches the speed of light in meters per second, 299,792,458. Coincidence or code? Its inner chambers align with the belt of Orion. Its base measures the curvature of the Earth. Its mass encodes the golden ratio, pi, and the solar year. But more than that, it is built to resonate. Each chamber acts as a pressure wave amplifier. The Queen's Chamber, a harmonic coupler. The Grand Gallery, a tuned resonator. The King's Chamber, a scalar focal point. This is not architecture. This is acoustics. This is wave mechanics in limestone, and it was not alone. Across the Earth, sacred sites form a global pattern. From Angkor Wat to Teotihuacan, from Baalbek to Easter Island. Many lie on great circle paths connected by geodesic alignments, forming a planetary grid, a spherical resonance lattice. When mapped, they reveal relationships not random, but harmonic. Even today, pilots and telecom engineers detect strange signal anomalies along these paths. Why? Because these sites are not dead relics. They are still resonating. In Babylon, the ziggurats were built in steps, 7 tiers, each linked to a planet, a metal, a frequency. They were antennas, stepped like Tesla coils, amplifying vibration from ground to sky and back again. In Solomon's temple, every measurement, every wall, every chamber was proportioned to sacred ratios. 2 cubits here, 3 there. The Ark of the Covenant itself was a resonant capacitor, wood and gold, dielectric and conductor. Placed between 2 cherubim, their wings forming the plates of a capacitor, the spark of God was engineered. To those who knew, it wasn't just holy, it was scalar. This is the hidden side of sacred geometry. Triangles were not just symbols, they were frequency gates. Hexagons, pattern stabilizers. Octagons, field modulators. The cathedral builders knew it. So did the Vedic architects. So did the Maya. So did the Banksters, who later stole it. And all of it was bound to frequency. Because scalar waves are not electromagnetic. They are deeper, longitudinal, faster than light. They do not decay. They do not lose power over distance. They can pass through anything, even time. Tesla discovered them. So did Mail. So did the Third Reich. And the ancients? They were masters of it. Each temple acted as a local oscillator embedded in a larger circuit, like microchips on the board of the world, each one influencing the whole through harmonic resonance. So when you stood at the altar and you chanted the name of a god, you weren't just praying. You were activating the grid, your voice, the modulator, your body, the antenna, your temple, the node. This was the original science of consciousness, not religion, not myth. Physics, and those who understood it, ruled. But in time, the grid went silent. The network, forgotten. The temples, desecrated. And the banksters, they built their own grid, not in stone, but in debt. Not on ley lines, but on ledgers. But deep beneath our feet, the old grid still pulses, waiting to be awakened. The temples were never just buildings, they were instruments, and the earth is still listening.